Are Saturn's rings really vanishing by 2025? An expert reveals the truth. If you can get your hands on a telescope, there are a few sights more spectacular than the magnificent ringed planet Saturn. Currently, Saturn is clearly visible in the evening sky. At its highest just after sunset, it's the ideal time to use a telescope or binoculars to get a good view of the solar system's sixth planet and its famous rings. But in the past few days, a slew of articles have run like wildfire through social media. Saturn's rings, those articles claim, are rapidly disappearing and will be gone by the year 2025. So what's the story? Could the next couple of months, before Saturn drops out of view in the evening sky, really be our last chance to see its mighty rings? The short answer is no. While it's true the rings will become almost invisible from Earth in 2025, it's neither a surprise nor reason to panic. The rings will reappear soon thereafter, and here's why. Tipping and tilting Earth. To understand why our view of Saturn changes, let's begin by considering Earth on its constant journey around the Sun. That journey takes us through the seasons from spring to winter to spring, summer and autumn, and then back again. And what causes the seasons? Put simply, Earth is tilted towards one side, as seen from the Sun. Our equator is tilted by about 23.5 degrees from the plane of our orbit. The result? As we move around the Sun, we alternately tip one hemisphere and then the other towards our star. When our home hemisphere is tilted more towards the Sun, you get longer days than nights and experience spring and summer. And when you're tilted away, you get shorter days and longer nights and experience autumn and winter. From the Sun's viewpoint, Earth happens to nod up and down, alternately showing off its hemispheres as it moves around our star. Now let's move on to Saturn. Saturn, a giant tilted world. Just like Earth, Saturn experiences seasons, but more than 29 times longer than ours. Where Earth's equator is tilted 23.5 degrees, Saturn's equator has a 26.7 degree tilt. The result? As Saturn moves through its 29.4-year orbit around our star, it also appears to nod up and down, as seen from both Earth and the Sun. What about Saturn's rings? The planet's enormous ring system, comprised of bits of ice, dust, and rock, spread out over a huge distance, just over 280,000 kilometers from the planet, but it's very thin in most places, just tens of meters thick. The rings orbit directly above Saturn's equator, so they too are tilted to the plane of Saturn's orbit. So why do Saturn's rings disappear? The rings that are so thin that, seen from a distance, they appear to vanish when edge on. You can visualize this easily by grabbing a sheet of paper and rotating it until it's edge on. The paper almost vanishes from view. As Saturn moves around the Sun, our viewpoint changes. For half of the orbit, its northern hemisphere is tilted towards us, and the northern face of the planet's rings is tipped our way. When Saturn is on the other side of the Sun, its southern hemisphere is pointed our way, for the same reason we see the southern face of the planet's rings tilted our way. The best way to illustrate this is to get your sheet of paper and hold it horizontally parallel to the ground. At eye level now, move the paper down towards the ground a few inches, and what do you see? The upper side of the paper comes into view, and move the paper back up through your eye line. You hold it up above you, and you can see the underside of the paper. But as it passes through eye level, the paper will all but disappear. And that's what we see with Saturn's rings. As the season on Saturn progress, we go from having the southern side of the rings tilted our way to seeing the northern side. Then the planet tips back, revealing the southern side once more. Twice per Saturnian year, we see the rings edge on, and they all but vanish from view. That's what's happening in 2025. The reason Saturn's rings will seemingly disappear is because we will be looking at them edge on. and this happens regularly. The last time was in 2009 when the rings gradually became visible again over the course of a few months. The rings will be edge on once again in March 2025. Then they'll gradually come back into view as seen through large telescopes before sliding out of view again in November. And thereafter, the rings will gradually get more and more obvious, reappearing first to the largest telescopes over the months that follow. Nothing to worry about. So if you want to clearly see Saturn's rings, now's the best chance, at least until 2007 or 2008. This is by John T. Horner, Professor of Astrophysics, University of Southern Queensland. This article we published from the Conversation of the Creative Commons license on Science Alert. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.